when the police officer turned to me outside my own front door and said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but legally, we need proof this is your residence," I felt something inside me shatter into 1,000 pieces. I was standing on the porch of the house I'd lived in for 32 years, the house where I'd raised my children, buried my husband, and built every memory that mattered, and I couldn't get inside. My own son had changed the locks while I was fighting for my life. But that wasn't even the worst part. When we finally got inside, when I finally saw what he'd done, I realized the betrayal went so much deeper than a locked door. Before I tell you what I came home to, please tap like. It helps me steady my heart. If you've ever felt betrayed when you were already fighting for your life, please subscribe. Your support feels like the only strength I have left. And comment your name and where you're watching from. I want to remember those who stand with me. Let me start from the beginning, because you need to understand how I got here. My name is Margaret, and I'm 68 years old. 3 months before that terrible day, I had been diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. The doctor's words had hit me like a freight train. "We need to start aggressive chemotherapy immediately," he'd said, his face grave and serious. I remember sitting in that cold examination room, thinking about my late husband, Robert, wishing he was there to hold my hand like he always did when things got scary. Robert had passed away 5 years earlier from a heart attack. We'd been married for 40 years, and losing him nearly destroyed me. But I survived because of our 2 children, Marcus and Lisa. Lisa lived 3 states away with her own family, but Marcus, my baby boy, he lived right here in town. Or so I thought. He would always be close. Marcus was 35 years old, married to a woman named Vanessa for 7 years. They had 2 children, my precious grandchildren, Emma and Tyler. I loved those kids more than anything in the world. After Robert died, I'd thrown myself into being the best grandmother I could be. I babysat 3 times a week, paid for their piano lessons and soccer fees, took them on weekend trips to the zoo and the aquarium. I never missed a birthday, never forgot a holiday. And Marcus, my son, I'd helped him too. God, how I'd helped him. When he wanted to start his own landscaping business 6 years ago, I gave him $15,000 from Robert's life insurance money. When Vanessa wanted to go back to school, I paid for her tuition another $12,000. When they said they were struggling with their mortgage, I paid it for them for 7 months straight, $1,700 a month. I never asked for the money back. I never even brought it up. They were my family. That's what you do for family. But looking back now, I can see the signs I ignored. The way Vanessa would roll her eyes when I offered advice. The way Marcus stopped calling just to talk and only reached out when he needed something. The way they'd cancel plans with me at the last minute, but post photos on social media, them out with friends. I told myself I was being sensitive, that I was imagining things because I was lonely after losing Robert. When I got my diagnosis, I called Marcus immediately. I was terrified, shaking as I held the phone. "Marcus, honey, I need to tell you something. I have cancer, breast cancer. I'm going to need chemotherapy." There was a pause on the other end. Then he said, "Oh, wow, that's rough, Mom. That's rough. Not, 'I'm so sorry,' or 'I'll be there for you,' or 'what can I do to help?' Just, that's rough," like I told him I had a flat tire. But I pushed down my disappointment and said, "The doctor says I'll need to do 3 months of intensive treatment at a facility about 2 hours away. They have a specialized program there. I'll need to stay nearby during the week for the treatments." "Okay, well, let me know if you need anything." I waited for him to offer to help, to say he'd check on the house, to volunteer to drive me to appointments, but he didn't. So I asked, "Marcus, would you mind keeping an eye on the house while I'm gone? Maybe mow the lawn, bring in the mail, that sort of thing? Sure, yeah, I could do that, he said quickly. Too quickly, I realize now. I'll give you a spare key, just in case there's an emergency or you need to get inside for anything. That works, Mom. Listen, I gotta go. Vanessa needs help with something. But good luck with the treatment and stuff. And that was it. My son, the boy I cared for. The treatment facility was called Harmony Valley Care Center, and it was exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes from my home. I packed my bags, arranged for a leave of absence from my part-time job at the library, and prepared myself for the hardest fight of my life. Before I left, I went to Marcus's house to give him the spare key. Vanessa answered the door. She didn't invite me in. Marcus isn't here, she said, her arms crossed. That's okay, I just need to drop off this key, I said, holding it out. It's for the house. Marcus said he'd keep an eye on things while I'm at treatment. She took the key without looking at it. Fine. Anything else? I wanted to ask her to give me a hug, to tell me everything would be okay, to show even the smallest bit of warmth. But her cold eyes told me I wouldn't get it. No, that's all. Can you tell Marcus I said goodbye and give Emma and Tyler hugs from Grandma? Sure, she said, already starting to close the door. I drove away from their house with tears in my eyes, telling myself it would be different when I came back. They'd see how hard I'd fought, how strong I'd been, and they'd appreciate me more. They'd realize how much they loved me. God, I was so naive. The chemotherapy was brutal. I lost my hair within the first 3 weeks. I lost 27 pounds. I vomited until I thought my insides would turn outside. There were days when I didn't know if I'd survive, days when I wasn't sure I wanted to. The other patients at Harmony Valley became my family. There was Patricia, a 62-year-old former teacher, who made me laugh even on the worst days. There was David, a 70-year-old veteran, who shared his pudding cups with me when I couldn't keep anything else down. There was Nurse Claudia, who held my hand during the worst treatments and promised me I'd get through it. Marcus called me twice in those 3 months. Twice. The first time was after 3 weeks. Hey, Mom, just checking in. How's it going? It's hard, honey, I told him honestly. Really hard. I'm so sick all the time. But the doctors say the treatment is working. That's good. That's good. Hey, quick question. Do you have any paperwork for the house? Like insurance stuff or property tax information? I might need it. I should have questioned why he needed it. I should have asked more. But I was so tired, so worn down by the poison they were pumping into my veins, that I just told him where to find the files in my home office. They're in the filing cabinet, second drawer, in a folder marked House Documents. Perfect. Thanks, Mom. Feel better. And he hung up. No, I love you. No, I'm proud of you. No, I'm coming to visit. Just feel better, like I had a cold. The second call came 7 weeks in. This time, Vanessa was on the phone. Margaret, it's Vanessa. Marcus wanted me to call and ask you something. Not even he wanted to call himself. He'd sent his wife. What is it? I asked. We were wondering if you could help us out with something. Our car broke down and we need to replace the transmission. It's going to be $4,000. We wouldn't ask, but we're really in a bind here. I was lying in a hospital bed, bald and weak, fighting for my life, and they were asking me for money. But what did I do? I gave it to them. I transferred $4,000 from my savings account to Marcus's account that same day. Because that's what mothers do, right? We sacrifice, we give, we put our children first, no matter what. Thank you so much, Vanessa said, her voice suddenly warm. Marcus really appreciates it. He says he'll pay you back as soon as he can. He never did. I tried calling Emma and Tyler a few times, desperate to hear my grandchildren's voices, to feel connected to something good and pure,
but the calls always went to voicemail. Marcus would text me later, "Sorry, the kids are busy with school stuff. They'll call you back soon." They never did. Lisa called me every single day. She sent care packages filled with soft blankets, puzzle books, and encouraging notes. She talked to my doctors, researched treatment options, and cried with me on the phone when things got really dark. "Mom, I'm so sorry I'm not there," she'd say. "I should be there with you." "You're here in all the ways that matter, sweetheart." And it was true. Even from 3 states away, Lisa showed me more love than Marcus did from 20 minutes down the road. 3 months passed. 3 months of hell and hope, of pain and perseverance. Finally, Dr. Morrison gave me the news I'd been praying for. "Margaret, the cancer is in remission. You did it. You beat it." I sobbed. Patricia hugged me. David gave me a high five. Nurse Claudia brought me a chocolate cupcake from the cafeteria. She told me, "You're a warrior. Now go home and live your life." I called Marcus to tell him the good news. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail. "Marcus, it's Mom. The cancer is in remission. I'm coming home next Tuesday. I can't wait to see you and Vanessa and the kids. I've missed you all so much. Love you." He texted me back 3 hours later. "That's great news, Mom." No exclamation point, no phone call back, just 4 words and a period. But I refused to let it dampen my spirits. I was alive. I'd survived. I was going home to my house, my memories, my life. I packed my bags, said goodbye to my Harmony Valley family, and started the 2-hour drive home. It was a Tuesday afternoon, sunny and warm, May 14th. I'll never forget the date. I pulled into my driveway and immediately noticed something was wrong. The lawn was overgrown, weeds choking the flower beds I'd always kept so perfectly maintained. There were newspapers piled on the porch, yellowed and rain-damaged. My mailbox was overflowing. Marcus hadn't kept an eye on anything. But the real shock came when I tried to put my key in the front door lock. It didn't fit. I tried again, thinking maybe I was using the wrong key, even though I'd had the same house key for 32 years. Nothing. The lock had been changed. My heart started pounding. I walked around to the back door, also changed. The side door to the garage, changed. Every single lock on my house had been replaced, and I couldn't get inside. I stood there in my driveway, weak from months of chemotherapy, bald and thin and exhausted, locked out of my own home. I called Marcus. No answer. I called again. No answer. I called Vanessa. No answer. I called Marcus's business line. Finally, he picked up. "Mom? What's up?" "I'm kind of in the middle of something." "Marcus, I'm home," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm standing outside the house and the locks have been changed. I can't get inside. Did something happen? Was there a break-in?" There was a long pause. Too long. "Oh, yeah, about that. We had to change the locks for security reasons." "Security reasons? Marcus, what are you talking about? I need to get inside. I need the new keys." "Mom, look, this isn't really a good time to talk about this. Can we discuss it later?" "Discuss what later? Marcus, this is my house. I need to get inside right now. I've been gone for 3 months. I'm exhausted. I just want to go home." Another pause. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. "Actually, Mom, we need to have a conversation about the house. Vanessa and I have been talking, and we think it's time for you to consider moving into a senior living facility. You're not getting any younger, and with the cancer and everything, it's probably not safe for you to live alone anymore." I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't catch my breath. "What? Marcus, I'm only 68 years old. I'm perfectly capable of living in my own home, and I'm in remission. I'm fine." "Mom, you're not thinking clearly. You've been through a lot. Vanessa has been researching some really nice places. They have activities and nurses on staff, and I don't need a nursing home, Marcus. I need to get into my house. Now give me the keys, or tell me where they are. Mom, calm down. You're getting hysterical. This is exactly why we're worried about you. Hysterical. He called me hysterical for wanting to access my own home. Where are the keys, Marcus? I have them, but I really think we should sit down and talk about this properly before. I hung up on him. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. I called Lisa. Thank God she answered on the first ring. Mom, you're home. How are you feeling? Lisa, I said, and then I couldn't speak because I was sobbing too hard. Mom, what's wrong? What happened? I told her everything. The changed locks, Marcus's words, the way he'd suggested I belonged in a nursing home. Lisa was silent for a long moment, and when she finally spoke, her voice was ice cold. That son of a bitch. Mom, call the police right now. Call the police and get into your house. Don't wait for Marcus. This is illegal. But he's my son. I can't. Mom, listen to me. Call the police. This is your house. You have legal rights. Call them now, and then call me back. So I did. I called 911 with shaking hands and explained the situation. 2 officers arrived within 15 minutes, Officer Rodriguez and Officer Bennett. They were kind but skeptical. That's when Officer Rodriguez said those words I mentioned at the beginning. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but legally we need proof this is your residence. Proof? This is my house. I've lived here for 32 years. Do you have documentation with you? A deed, utility bills, anything with your name and this address? I did, thank God. I still had some mail in my car from before I'd left for treatment, and I had my driver's license with the address. Officer Bennett called it in to verify. While we waited, I tried calling Marcus again. He finally answered. Marcus, the police are here. They're going to help me get into my house, but I wanted to give you one more chance to bring the keys and explain what's going on. You called the cops? Mom, are you serious? You called the police on your own son? You locked me out of my own home. What was I supposed to do? This is insane. You're acting crazy. The cancer treatment must have affected your brain or something. That's when I felt it, the shift. The moment when something inside me that had been bending and bending finally snapped. Marcus, get here now with the keys, or these officers are going to break down the door. Your choice.
He showed up 20 minutes later, screeching into the driveway in his truck. Vanessa was with him, and both of them looked furious. Marcus got out of the truck and immediately started yelling, "This is ridiculous. I can't believe you called the cops. I was trying to help you, and this is how you thank me?" Officer Rodriguez stepped forward. "Sir, calm down. Are you Margaret's son?" "Yes, I'm her son, and I've been taking care of her house while she was away." "Then you can provide the keys to let her inside." "I changed the locks for security. There have been break-ins in the neighborhood." "That may be," Officer Bennett said calmly, "but this is her property. She has the right to access it." Marcus's face was red. Vanessa stood behind him with her arms crossed, glaring at me like I'd committed some terrible crime. "Fine," Marcus spat. "Here." He threw a set of keys at me. Actually threw them. They hit my chest and fell to the ground. My son, my baby boy, threw keys at me like I was a stranger who'd wronged him. Officer Rodriguez picked up the keys and handed them to me gently. "Ma'am, would you like us to accompany you inside?" "Just to make sure everything is okay." Something in his tone made me nervous. "Yes," I said quietly. "Yes, please." I unlocked the door with trembling hands and stepped inside my house for the first time in 3 months. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Stale air, dust, something else I couldn't quite place. The second thing I noticed was that things were missing. My grandmother's antique clock that used to sit on the mantel, gone.
The silver picture frames from the hallway table, gone. Robert's vintage record collection, gone. I walked through the house in a daze, the officers following behind me, noting everything missing on their report. Marcus and Vanessa stayed outside, but I could hear them arguing in the driveway. Then I went to my bedroom, to the closet where I kept my important documents and my emergency savings. I opened the safe with my combination, the safe that only I knew how to open, the safe that I'd never told anyone about except I'd mentioned it to Marcus once, years ago, when Robert had first died and I'd wanted him to know where important papers were in case something happened to me. The safe was empty, completely empty. The deeds to the house and car were gone, my mother's jewelry, my grandmother's ring, and the $80,000 in cash I'd kept there. $80,000 from Robert's life insurance that I'd been saving for emergencies, for my retirement, for my grandchildren's college funds. All of it gone. I made a sound then, a sound I didn't even recognize as coming from me. Ah! It was somewhere between a scream and a sob, a noise of pure anguish and betrayal. Officer Rodriguez was beside me in an instant. "Ma'am, what is it?" "My money, my savings. $80,000, it was in this safe. It's gone. Everything's gone." Officer Bennett's face hardened. "Are you certain of the amount?" "Yes, 80,000 exactly. I counted it before I left for treatment. It was my life insurance money from my late husband, and my documents, my deed, jewelry, all of it's missing." "And who had access to this house while you were away?" "Just Marcus, my son. He was the only one with a key." The officers exchanged a look. Officer Rodriguez said, "Ma'am, I think you need to file a theft report. This is serious." We went back outside. Marcus saw my face, and his expression changed from anger to something else. Fear, maybe. Or guilt? "Mom, what's wrong?" "Where's my money, Marcus?" I said, coldly, my voice flat and dead. "What money?" "The $80,000 that was in my safe, the safe that's now empty. Where is it?" His face went pale. Vanessa's eyes widened. "I don't know what you're talking about. I never went in your safe. I don't even know the combination." "You're lying. Where is my money?" "Mom, I swear, I don't have your money. Why would I steal from you?" Officer Bennett stepped in. "Sir, these are serious accusations. The homeowner is reporting $80,000 missing along with valuable documents and jewelry. You were the only person with access to the property. We're going to need you to come down to the station and answer some questions." Vanessa grabbed Marcus's arm. "Don't say anything. We need a lawyer." "A lawyer," I said, voice breaking, my voice rising. "You need a lawyer. Marcus, you're my son. Just tell me the truth. Did you take my money?" "I didn't steal anything. You can't prove I did." "Can't prove he did. Not, I didn't do it, but you can't prove it." That's when I knew for certain. My son had robbed me. While I was fighting cancer, while I was bald and vomiting and afraid I might die, my own child had broken into my safe and stolen everything I had. I felt something break inside me then, something that could never be repaired. The love that I had for Marcus, the maternal instinct that had made me forgive every slight and overlook every red flag, it shattered like glass. "Get off my property," I said quietly.
"Mom, get off my property right now, or I'll have these officers arrest you for trespassing." "You can't be serious. I'm your son." "I don't have a son," I said coldly, and I meant it. I had a son once, but he died the day he stole from his dying mother. Now get out." Marcus and Vanessa left, Vanessa dragging him to the truck while he kept trying to turn back and yell something at me. I didn't hear what he said. I didn't care. I filed a police report, giving every detail I could remember. Officer Rodriguez gave me his card. "Ma'am, I'll be honest with you. Cases like this are hard to prove,
especially when it's family. But we'll investigate. In the meantime, change all your locks again and don't let anyone in without supervision. After the officers left, I sat alone in my house, and the house that suddenly felt cold and empty despite being full of furniture and memories. I called Lisa and told her everything. She was on a plane the next morning. When Lisa arrived, she took one look at me and burst into tears. We held each other in the hallway, two broken women trying to hold each other up. "I'm so sorry, Mom," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry." "It's not your fault, sweetheart," I told her. "You should have been here. I should have checked on things. I should have known Marcus would—" She couldn't finish the sentence. Lisa stayed for a week. She helped me change all the locks again, this time with a high security system. She went through the house and documented everything that was missing. She helped me contact my bank and freeze my accounts. She called lawyers and got referrals. And most importantly, she listened when I cried and held me when the betrayal felt too heavy to bear. "Mom," she said one night as we sat in the kitchen drinking tea, "you need to sue him. You need to get your money back." "He's my son." "He was your son. But what he did, Mom, that's not love. That's not family. He stole from you while you were at your weakest. He changed your locks to keep you out of your own home. He tried to gaslight you into thinking you needed to be in a nursing home. This was calculated. This was cruel." She was right. Deep down, I knew she was right. But the mother in me, the part that had rocked Marcus to sleep as a baby, that had nursed him through fevers and heartbreaks, that part resisted. What if I'm wrong? What if there's an explanation? Lisa pulled out her phone and showed me something. It was Marcus's Facebook page. There, posted just 2 weeks earlier, were photos of him and Vanessa at a casino in Las Vegas. Vanessa was wearing a new diamond bracelet. Marcus was holding up a champagne glass, grinning at the camera. The caption read, "Living our best life. #blessed. Vacation. Vegas life." Living their best life with my money. While I was bald and sick and fighting for survival, they were gambling and drinking champagne in Las Vegas. I started laughing then, a horrible, broken laugh that turned into sobs. The next day, I called the lawyer Lisa had found for me. Her name was Patricia Chen, and she was a fierce woman in her 50s who specialized in elder abuse and theft cases. "Mrs. Anderson," she said after I told her my story, "what happened to you is called elder financial abuse, and it's a crime. Not only can we pursue criminal charges, but we can also file a civil lawsuit to recover your money and damages." "But how do I prove he took it?" I asked. "That's where it gets tricky, but not impossible. We'll subpoena his bank records, credit card statements, and property records. If he suddenly deposited large amounts of cash or made major purchases around the time you were in treatment, that's evidence. We'll also document the changed locks, the missing property, everything. And Mrs. Anderson, I've handled cases like this before. Sons don't usually change their dying mother's locks and clean out their safes for innocent reasons." I hired her on the spot. The investigation took 6 weeks. 6 weeks during which Marcus called me repeatedly, leaving voicemails that range from angry to pleading to threatening. "Mom, you're ruining my life with these accusations. I have a family to support. How could you do this to your own grandchildren?" My grandchildren. The ones he'd kept from me for 3 months. The ones he'd used as leverage to manipulate me for years. I didn't return his calls. Then Vanessa started showing up at my house. The first time, I heard the doorbell and saw her through the window. I didn't answer. She rang and rang, then finally yelled through the door, "Margaret, you need to drop this lawsuit. You're tearing this family apart. Marcus didn't do anything wrong. You're just a bitter old woman who can't stand that her son has his own life." Bitter old woman. I was 68, in remission from cancer, and fighting to recover the money that was stolen from me. And I was the bitter one.
Patricia Chen was as good as her word. She got the subpoenas, and what they revealed made even my lawyer gasp. 2 days after I'd left for treatment, Marcus had deposited $20,000 in cash into his business account. A week later, another $20,000. Over the next 2 months, deposits totaling $78,000. When questioned by police about the source of the money, he claimed it was from business earnings, but his business records showed no corresponding invoices or customers. He'd also purchased a brand new truck, $45,000. He'd booked the Vegas trip, $8,000. He'd bought Vanessa that diamond bracelet, $6,000. He didn't even hide it, Patricia said, shaking her head. He was so confident you'd never fight back that he didn't even try to cover his tracks. The criminal investigation was ongoing, but Patricia filed the civil lawsuit. We sued Marcus and Vanessa for $80,000 plus emotional distress damages, legal fees, and punitive damages. The amount came to over $200,000. When Marcus got served with the lawsuit, he showed up at my house again. This time, Lisa was there. She answered the door and immediately stepped outside, pulling it shut behind her. I could hear them through the window. "You need to let me talk to Mom," Marcus said. "Not a chance. You're being sued. All communication goes through lawyers now." "Lisa, come on. She's our mother. You can't seriously support her doing this to me." "Doing this to you?" Lisa's voice rose. "You stole from her. You stole from our mother while she had cancer. What kind of person does that?" "I didn't steal anything. That money was supposed to be mine anyway. She would have given it to me eventually." There it was, the truth. He'd taken the money because he thought he deserved it. "It wasn't yours to take," Lisa said, her voice cold. "And the fact that you think you're the victim here tells me everything I need to know about who you've become. You disgust me." "Oh, that's rich coming from you. You've always been her favorite. You don't need her money because you married rich, but some of us are struggling. Some of us need help." "Help? You call stealing help?" "Marcus, I don't even know you anymore." "Tell Mom I want to talk to her. Tell her I'll pay her back. We can work something out. She doesn't need to destroy my life over this." "You destroyed your own life," Lisa said. "Now get off this property before I call the police." After he left, Lisa came inside and found me sitting at the kitchen table, tears streaming down my face. "I raised him," I whispered. "I raised him to be better than this. Where did I go wrong?" "You didn't go wrong, Mom," Lisa said, kneeling beside me. "He made his choices. This isn't on you." But it felt like it was. It felt like every sacrifice I'd made, every loving moment, every time I'd put his needs before my own, it had all been for nothing. I'd raised a thief and a liar. The next few months were a blur of legal proceedings. Marcus hired a cheap lawyer who tried to argue that the money was a gift, that I'd given it to Marcus willingly over the years. But Patricia Chen tore that argument apart with bank records, timestamps, and the fact that the safe had been broken into while I was gone. "If it was a gift," she said in court, "why did he have to break into a safe to get it? Why did he change all the locks? Why did he take the property deed and jewelry?" The criminal case was harder to prove beyond reasonable doubt, but the civil case was straightforward. The judge, a stern woman named Judge Ellen Morrison, listened to all the evidence with an increasingly disgusted expression. When it came time for Marcus to testify, he fell apart on the stand. "Did you change the locks on your mother's house?" Patricia asked him. "Yes, but it was for security." "Security from what?" "There had been break-in in the neighborhood." "Can you provide police reports of these break-ins?" "No, but I'd heard about them." "From whom?" "I don't remember." "Mr. Anderson, did you enter your mother's home without her permission while she was receiving cancer treatment?" "I had permission. She gave me a key." "Did you have permission to open her safe?" I didn't open her safe." "Then how do you explain depositing $78,000 in cash into your bank account during the exact time period when your mother's safe was emptied of $80,000? Marcus stammered. He looked at his lawyer, at Vanessa in the gallery, at me. Our eyes met, and for just a moment,
I saw my little boy again. The one who used to bring me dandelions from the yard. The one who would crawl into my lap during thunderstorms. The one who told me I was the best mommy in the world. Then he looked away, and that little boy was gone forever. He finally said, "I want to invoke my Fifth Amendment right." The courtroom murmured. Judge Morrison raised her eyebrow. "This is a civil case, Mr. Anderson. You have the right not to incriminate yourself criminally, but I can draw negative inferences from your refusal to answer in this proceeding. Do you understand?" "Yes, Your Honor."
Then let me be clear. Your refusal to answer questions about the missing money, combined with the circumstantial evidence presented, does not paint a favorable picture of your character or your actions. The trial lasted 3 days. I testified about giving Marcus the key, about the state I'd found the house in, about the missing money and possessions. Patricia presented the bank records, the photos from Vegas, the receipts for expensive purchases. Character witnesses testified about my generosity toward Marcus over the years, the money I'd given him, the sacrifices I'd made. Marcus's lawyer tried to paint me as a vindictive mother who resented her son's success. But it fell flat when Patricia pointed out that Marcus's success had only appeared after my safe was emptied. On the 3rd day, Judge Morrison delivered her verdict. "I've presided over many cases in my 30 years on the bench," she said firmly, "but few have disgusted me as much as this one. Mrs. Anderson, you are a woman who survived cancer, who fought for your life while your son systematically robbed you. Mr. Anderson, you and your wife showed a level of callousness and greed that is truly stunning. You changed the locks on your mother's home. You stole her money. You took advantage of her when she was at her most vulnerable. And then when caught, you attempted to gaslight her into thinking she was mentally incompetent." Marcus's face was bright red. Vanessa was crying, but I felt no sympathy for her tears. "I find in favor of the plaintiff, Mrs. Margaret Anderson," Judge Morrison continued. "Mr. Anderson, you are ordered to pay Mrs. Anderson $80,000 in restitution for the stolen money, $35,000 to cover the value of the stolen property and jewelry, $60,000 in emotional distress damages, $45,000 in legal fees, and $50,000 in punitive damages. The total judgment is $270,000. The courtroom erupted. Marcus jumped to his feet, shouting, "That's insane! I don't have that kind of money. You're going to bankrupt me." Judge Morrison's face hardened. "You should have thought of that before you stole from your mother. You have 30 days to begin payment arrangements, or I'll authorize the seizure of your assets, including your business, your vehicles, and any property you own. Court is adjourned." I sat there in shock as people congratulated me, as Patricia Sin squeezed my hand, as Lisa hugged me and whispered, "You did it, Mom, you won." But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like mourning. Because even though I'd gotten justice, I'd lost my son, and no amount of money could bring him back. After the judgment, Marcus and Vanessa declared bankruptcy to avoid paying the full amount. But the court put liens on their property, garnished Marcus's business income, and seized the truck he'd bought with my money. They had to sell their house and move into a small apartment. Marcus's business barely survived. His reputation in the community was destroyed when word got out about what he'd done. Emma and Tyler, my grandchildren, they were the innocent victims in all this. Lisa managed to contact them through their school, and we learned that Marcus and Vanessa had told them I was dead. Actually dead. They told those children their grandmother had died of cancer, so they wouldn't ask to see me. When Lisa told me that, something inside me went beyond anger into a cold, clear determination. We got a lawyer involved and proved that Marcus and Vanessa had alienated the children from me. With the court judgment and the evidence of parental manipulation, I was granted supervised visitation rights with Emma and Tyler. The first time I saw them after all those months, Emma, who was 10, took one look at me and burst into tears. "Grandma, but Daddy said you were dead."
I knelt down and pulled both of them into my arms. Emma, babies, I'm here. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Tyler, who was 7, touched my short hair that was just starting to grow back. Did you get sick? I did. I told him honestly. I had cancer, but I fought it, and I won, and I'm getting better every day. Why did Darty lie to us? How do you explain to children that their father is a thief and a liar? How do you tell them that the person who's supposed to protect them used them as pawns? Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, I said carefully. Very big mistakes. But that doesn't change how much I love you. It never will. The supervised visits became regular visits. Eventually, as Emma got older and started asking more questions, the truth came out. By the time she was 13, she pieced together enough to understand what her father had done. She stopped speaking to him entirely. Tyler followed his sister's lead. Marcus and Vanessa's marriage fell apart under the stress. They divorced 3 years after the judgment.
As for me, I slowly rebuilt my life. The money came in installments through the garnishments, not all at once, but enough that I could feel financially secure again. I went back to my job at the library part-time. I joined a cancer survivor support group where I met other women who'd been through similar battles. I started painting again, something I'd loved as a young woman but had given up when I became a wife and mother. Patricia, the woman I'd met at Harmony Valley during treatment, became one of my closest friends. We had coffee every Thursday and laughed about the absurdity of life. David, the veteran, sent me Christmas cards every year with updates on his health. Nurse Claudia came to visit me once, just to see how I was doing, and we cried happy tears together. Lisa moved closer to me, just one state away, so we could see each other more often. She and her family became my primary family, along with Emma and Tyler once they were old enough to visit without supervision. We built new traditions, new memories, better ones. I thought about Marcus sometimes, especially late at night when the house was quiet. I mourned the son I'd lost, but I also acknowledged something important. The son I'd mourned never really existed. I'd been in love with the idea of Marcus, with the potential I saw in him, with the child he used to be. But the reality of who he became, that was someone I couldn't love, someone I wouldn't want to love. On what would have been Robert's 75th birthday, 5 years after everything happened, I went to his grave. I sat there in the grass and told him everything. I know you'd be disappointed in Marcus, I said, but I also think you'd be proud of me. I stood up for myself. I fought back. I didn't let him destroy me. And I think, maybe, that's what you would have wanted. The wind blew through the trees, and I chose to believe it was Robert's way of agreeing. Emma graduated from high school at the top of her class. I was there, sitting in the front row, crying proud tears as she walked across that stage. She put my name on the program as her grandmother, but she left the spot for parents blank. When I asked her about it later, she said, "Grandma, you're the one who showed up. You're the one who fought for me. As far as I'm concerned, you're the parent that matters." She's in college now, studying law, because, as she told me, I want to help people like you, Grandma, people who've been taken advantage of by family. Tyler is in high school, excelling in math and science, dreaming of being an engineer. They both call me every Sunday. They visit during holidays. They are the family I deserve, the love I earned by refusing to give up. I saw Marcus one more time, about 4 years ago. I was at the grocery store, reaching for a box of cereal, when I heard someone say, "Mom." I turned around. He looked older, worn down. His hair was graying. He'd gained weight. He looked defeated. "Hello, Marcus," I said quietly. "How are you?" he asked. "I'm well. Cancer's still in remission. I'm healthy." "That's good. That's really good.
He shifted his weight, not meeting my eyes. I heard Emma got into college. That's great. She's doing wonderfully. Tyler, too. They won't talk to me, he said, and his voice cracked. They won't return my calls. Emma blocked me on everything. I've missed years of their lives. I could have felt sympathy. A part of me wanted to. But I remembered the locked doors, the empty safe, the way he'd thrown keys at me. You made your choices, Marcus. I was desperate. Vanessa was pressuring me. We were in debt. I thought you'd never know. I thought you wouldn't miss it. You thought I'd die, I said flatly. You thought the cancer would kill me, and you'd inherit anyway. That's why you took the deed, too, isn't it? You were preparing for me to die, so you could sell the house. He didn't deny it. He couldn't. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry, Mom. I was wrong. I was terrible. If I could take it back. But you can't. You can't take it back. And I can't forget. I forgave you for a lot of things over the years, Marcus. I forgave you for taking me for granted, for only calling when you needed money, for keeping the kids from me. But I can't forgive you for this. I won't. So that's it? I'm just dead to you? You made yourself dead to me when you stole from me while I was dying. Goodbye, Marcus. I walked away. He called after me, but I didn't turn around. And you know what? It felt good. It felt powerful. It felt like the ending I deserved. Now, I'm 73 years old. My hair grew back, silver and short. I like it this way. I have a small garden where I grow tomatoes and herbs. I volunteer at the library 3 days a week. I have dinner with Patricia every Thursday, and with Lisa's family at least twice a month. Emma calls me for advice about classes and boys and life. Tyler sends me memes that I don't always understand, but always make me laugh. I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. I'm not surrounded by a huge family, but the family I have is real and loving. I'm not the same woman I was before the cancer, before the betrayal. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm done sacrificing myself for people who don't deserve it. If you're reading this, if you're listening to my story, and you see yourself in it, if you have a Marcus in your life, someone who takes and never gives back, someone who makes you feel guilty for having boundaries, someone who sees your love as weakness to exploit, let me tell you this, you deserve better. You deserve to be valued. You deserve to be respected. And if someone in your life, even your own child, can't give you that, then it's okay to walk away. It's okay to fight back. It's okay to choose yourself. I spent 68 years putting everyone else first. I spent a lifetime believing that being a good mother meant endless sacrifice, boundless forgiveness, unconditional support, even when it hurt me. But I learned something important through all of this. Real love goes both ways. Real family shows up. Real relationships are built on respect, not exploitation. My name is Margaret Elizabeth Anderson. I'm 73 years old. I'm a cancer survivor, a mother, a grandmother, and a woman who refused to let betrayal define her. This is my story. If you liked my story, please leave a comment below telling me what you think. Have you ever dealt with family betrayal? How did you handle it? I'd love to hear your experiences. And if this story helped you in any way, if it gave you strength or hope or the courage to stand up for yourself, then sharing it has been worth it. Thank you for listening.